Hello everyone, welcome back to another lesson. I hope you are doing well. In our previous lessons we worked on this model narrative essay, My Mother's China Cups, and you have read this essay, and you have worked on a couple of exercises. So this was the first exercise. You had to answer 3 questions here, then you had to complete an outline, and you did pretty well in that. I've checked your work, and today we are going to work on exercise D. There are some questions that you have to answer. Look at body paragraph 3 of My Mother's China Cup on page 83. Circle the conjunctions, underline the subordinators, put a star next to relative clause, then answer these questions. So you have to find the shortest sentence, and you have to find how many conjunctions are there and how many subordinators, and there's a relative clause and that has commas around it, and you have to understand who does the relative clause describe. Let's see where the paragraph 3 is. So paragraph 2, body paragraph 3. Here is where we have to find the shortest sentence, and we have to find how many subordinators are there, how many conjunctions are there, and there's a relative clause. What is the relative clause describing? And this relative clause also has a comma. So let me read it for you. I had only washed a few when the beautiful blue and white cup slipped from my small hand and fell back into the sink. The handle broke off. My mother's special cup was ruined, and I was sure she would be angry. I cried and waited for quite a while before I could find the courage to tell her. My mother, who was probably upset, only smiled and said we would glue it back together. I happily finished washing the precious cups. When I had cleaned and dried them all, we carefully placed them back on the shelves. Then my mother glued the handle back on the broken cup before we set it back in the place too. So as you can see, the shortest sentence should be a simple sentence, and there we have the handle broke off. This is the shortest sentence because it has got just one subject and one verb. It has got one part, and it is, according to structure, it is a simple sentence. All other sentences are either complex sentences or compound sentences. Let's see. I had only washed a few when the beautiful blue and white cup slipped from my small hands and fell back into the sink. So you have this and it is a conjunction. It is combining 2 equal sentences. So this is one conjunction. Like this you have to find words like and but and so for conjunctions. And you also have subordinators. Subordinators are words that they are called subordinate conjunctions. They are kind of conjunctions, but they are called subordinators. When, if, again you can see when. These are subordinators. We have talked about them a little bit in the class, if you remember. So see how many subordinators you can find, how many conjunctions you can find, and I've already told you the shortest sentence. There was one last question, that there is a sentence that contains a relative clause and there's a comma before it. What is the relative clause describing? You can see the sentences here. My mother, then a comma, who was probably upset. This is the relative clause, who was probably upset, only smiled and said we would glue it back together. So now you have to tell me what is who was probably upset. What is this relative clause, or who is this relative clause describing? So answer your questions and send them in the WhatsApp group to me, and I will tell you whether you are right or wrong. Have a nice day. Thank you.